Welcome to the Physics Classroom's video tutorial on sound waves. The topic of this video is harmonic frequencies and vibrational patterns. And we want to know what are harmonics, how are they related to standing waves, and what mathematical equations can be derived from standing wave patterns. I'm Mr. H. Let's get started. In a previous video, this one, I discussed what a standing wave is and how it is formed. If you need more details on that topic, I've left a link to the video in the description section of this one. Let's suppose that we have a wave traveling through a confined space, like a rope that's held on both ends by two people. A regular and repeating pattern will be established within the rope only when it's vibrated at just the right frequencies. When vibrated at just the right frequency, the reflected pulse off of one end will interfere with the incident pulse from the other end in such a manner as to produce points along the medium that appear to be standing still. We refer to these standing still locations as nodes, and the pattern that develops is known as a standing wave pattern. This is a diagram of a standing wave pattern established within a rope. The gold points that are marked on the diagram are the nodal points, the points that have no displacement from the usual resting position. And in between every nodal position is an antinodal point, a point along the medium that's vibrating wildly from a large positive displacement to a large negative displacement. For the sake of this video, it's important to recognize that these just the right frequencies, or natural frequencies, which form standing waves within the rope, are referred to as harmonics or harmonic frequencies. Harmonics and standing wave patterns can be demonstrated using a Chladni plate. A Chladni plate is a metal plate that can be firmly secured to a lab bench. It's typically covered with salt or sand in a random fashion and then vibrated. I like to strum it with a violin bow. Once the plate begins vibrating with one of its natural or harmonic frequencies, the salt can be observed to form patterns of lines along the two-dimensional plate. If you take your violin bow and strum it a second, third, fourth, or fifth time, you can often observe different patterns of salt lines within the plate. Each one of these patterns is known as a standing wave pattern with nodes and antinodes. Each grain of salt will vibrate until it settles along a node. We can imagine that in between every node is an antinode that's vibrating wildly from a large positive to a large negative displacement. The salt would never settle there, but instead is vibrated off of those antinodes and settles along the nodes, forming a line of nodes along the two-dimensional plate. Each pattern that you observe is associated with the lowest energy favored mode or manner of vibration that the plate has, and the frequencies that cause each mode of vibration are known as harmonic frequencies. Harmonics and standing wave patterns are often demonstrated with the singing aluminum pole demonstration. Imagine a 2-meter length hollow aluminum pole. You hold the pole at its midpoints, and then you take your fingers and you get them all sticky with resin, and you slide it along the pole. When you vibrate the pole in this manner, it begins to resonate with one of its natural frequencies, and you hear a very loud, pure-sounding tone. If you hold the pole at a different position, say the 1/4 position, 1/6 position, or 1/8 position along the length of the pole will be forced to vibrate in a different mode of vibration, and you would hear a different harmonic frequencies. Each mode of vibration of the pole is a standing wave pattern and represents one of the low-energy favored mode of vibration that aluminum pole has, and the frequency that the pole sounds out with when vibrating in that manner is known as a harmonic frequency. To illustrate, let me show you 3 diagrams. In the first diagram, the pole is held at the midpoint, and because the pole is held at the midpoint, a node is forced to be assumed at that location since the aluminum can't vibrate there. For symmetry reasons, antinodes are located on the ends of the pole. For a 2-meter length aluminum pole, the wavelength would be 4.0 meters, and a typical frequency for aluminum would be 1250 Hertz. If I hold the pole at the 1/4 position, I would force a node to be located there because the pole can't vibrate at that location. For symmetry reasons, there'd also be a node at the 3/4 position and antinodes located in between any two adjacent nodes and at the end of the pole. When vibrating with this mode of vibration, the wavelength would be 2 meters, that is 1/2 the length, 1/2 the wavelength of the first harmonic, and the frequency would be twice the frequency. Finally, let's consider holding the pole at the 1/6 location. There'd be a node at that location, and for symmetry reasons, nodes at the 3/6 and 5/6 location. There'd be antinodes in between every node and antinodes at the ends of the pole. When vibrated in this manner, the wavelength would be 1/3 the size of the first harmonic and the frequency would be 3 times higher. These frequencies listed here, the 1250, the 2500, and the 3750 Hz, are different harmonic frequencies that the pole has, and the patterns of vibrations are the harmonic patterns of vibration. Now let's consider vibrating strings, such as the string of a guitar or violin. Strings have a number of natural frequencies with which they can vibrate, known as harmonics, and each harmonic is associated with a standing wave pattern that represents the mode of vibration of that string. Here is one of the several favored low-energy modes of vibration of a guitar string. In the animation, the nodes and the antinodes are marked. We would represent this mode of vibration by a standing wave pattern that looks like this. There are 5 nodes in the pattern, 2 on the end and 3 in between the ends, and in between every node is an antinode that's vibrating wildly from a large positive to a large negative displacement. This pattern is just one of the many patterns of vibration of a string. All the patterns share the following traits. First, there's an alternating pattern of nodes and antinodes. Second, the number of wavelengths that you would observe within the pattern would be a half number or a whole number of wavelengths. For example, you might observe 2 wavelengths or 1.5 wavelengths or 1.0 wavelengths or 2.5 wavelengths, but you would never observe 1.68 wavelengths or 0.83 wavelengths within the pattern. Third, nodes are always located at the ends of the string because at those locations the string is clamped down and is unable to vibrate, thus forming nodes. And finally, one pattern is related to the next pattern by the addition or subtraction of a node and an antinode. These animations depict the vibrational patterns for the 4 lowest frequency harmonics of a vibrating string. I refer to them as the first, second, third, and fourth harmonics. Knowing that this is 1 wavelength and this is a half a wavelength, I can count the number of wavelengths within the length of the string for each of the 4 harmonics and write an algebraic statement in which I compare the length of the string to the number of wavelengths within that length of string. For the first harmonic, I observe 1/2 of a wave within the length of the string, so I write L equal 0.5 times lambda, where lambda is the wavelength. For the second harmonic, I observe 2/2 of a wavelength, or 1 full wavelength, so I say L equal 1.0 times wavelength, or lambda. For the third harmonic, I count 3/2, or 1.5 wavelengths, so I say L equal 1.5 times lambda, and for the fourth harmonic, I say L equal 2.0 times lambda. Now I can perform some algebra in order to take my L equal equations and convert them to wavelength equal equations. For the first harmonic, I would have to divide both sides by 0.5. When I do, I end up with an equation that says wavelength equal 2.0 times the length. I can repeat the process for the other 3 harmonics, dividing by 1.0, by 1.5, and 2.0, and I end up with these equations. Now I can use my 4 wavelength equations to compare the second, third, and fourth harmonic to the first harmonic and make the following claims regarding their relative wavelengths and frequencies. So beginning with the second harmonic, I can claim that the wavelength of the second harmonic is 1/2 the wavelength of the first harmonic. Now the speed of waves is the same whether the string is vibrating as the first, second, third, or fourth harmonic, and the speed is equal to the frequency times the wavelength. wavelength. So I notice my wavelength of the second harmonic is 1/2 the size of the first, so in order for the speeds to be the same, the frequency of the second harmonic must be 2 times the frequency of the first harmonic. Going to the third harmonic, I can claim that the wavelength of the third harmonic is 1/3 the wavelength of the first harmonic, and in order for their speeds to be the same, the frequency of the third harmonic must be 3 times the frequency of the first harmonic. And for the fourth harmonic, its wavelength is 1/4 the wavelength of the first harmonic, and therefore it must have a frequency that is 4 times the frequency of the first harmonic. We saw in the previous slide that the manner in which a string vibrates exhibits a pattern, and so does the mathematics associated with the harmonic number n, the harmonic frequency f, and the wavelength found in the pattern. This table illustrates some of those patterns. In the second column, we see the standing wave patterns for the first, second, third, and fourth harmonics. And from the standing wave patterns, we can count the number of nodes and antinodes and end up with these values. The final row of the table is for generic harmonic number n, where n could be 7 or 11 or even 38. And we'll notice the number of nodes in the nth harmonic is simply n plus 1, and the number of antinodes is simply n. Now let's look at the wavelength and frequency relationships. If we know the wavelength of the first harmonic, we can find the wavelength of the second, third, and fourth harmonic by dividing by 2, by 3, and by 4. And the wavelength of the nth harmonic is simply the wavelength of the first harmonic divided by n. For frequencies, I multiply by n instead of dividing by n. So the frequency of the second, third, and fourth harmonic are times 2, or the frequency of the first, times 2, times 3, and times 4, and the frequency of the nth harmonic is the frequency of the first times n. Now let's look at some examples, and these examples presume 2 things. First of all, a length of a string that is 0.60 meters or 60 centimeters, and a fundamental or first harmonic frequency of 50 hertz. On the previous slide, we learned that you can calculate the wavelength of the first harmonic by taking 2 times the length of the string, since there's a half of a wavelength within that length of string. And so, for the first harmonic, the wavelength would be 2 times the 0.60 meters, or 1.20 meters. And the wavelength of the second, third, and fourth harmonic is this 1.20 meters divided by 2, by 3, and by 4. And the wavelength of the nth harmonic is 1.20 divided by n. The frequency of the second, third, and fourth harmonic can be found by taking this assumed frequency of 50 hertz for the first harmonic and multiplying by 2, by 3, and by 4 to get 100, 150, and 200 hertz. And the frequency of the nth harmonic is simply the frequency of the first multiplied by n. It's at this time in every video that I like to help you out with an action plan, a series of next steps for making the learning stick. But before I help you out, could you help us out by giving us a like, subscribing to the channel, or leaving a question or comment in the comments section below. Now for your action plan. Here are 4 resources you'll find on our website, and I've left links to each in the description section of this video. You have a simulation in our interactive section that allows you to manipulate a variable and view the result. You have a concept builder and 2 Minds on Physics mission, which form great practice for putting these ideas to use. Finally, there's a tutorial page in our tutorial section. Whatever you do, I wish you the best of luck. I'm Mr. H, and I thank you for watching.